Hi, I'm Lori DiGiulio, registered massage therapist and NKT practitioner here in Bedford, Nova Scotia. I just completed a weekend with yoga teacher trainees, and we were talking about the pelvic floor and how Kegels are great for pelvic floor issues and to strengthen your pelvic floor. And so I was talking to them about how everybody doesn't have a weak pelvic floor. Some people have a pelvic floor that's too tight. And so in order to find out whether or not your pelvic floor is too tight or too weak, really you need to be assessed by a pelvic floor specialist, physiotherapist, or an NKT practitioner. So I would really encourage people to get assessed before they do any type of intervention, including Kegels. So what I wanted to do is show you kind of a better version of a Kegel to address either pelvic floor weakness or pelvic floor tightness. Some of the indications that the pelvic floor is too tight would be pain upon intercourse. The people that have the tendency to hold their urine or hold their poo all day tend towards a pelvic floor that's too tight. People that experience loss of bowel or bladder control when they jump or when they sneeze or when they cough, they tend to have pelvic floors that tend towards weakness or inhibition. So you really want to discover which type of pelvic floor dysfunction you have before you start doing an exercise for it. But if you have discovered that your pelvic floor is weak or too tight, I'm going to show you a great drill to address that. So we're going to differentiate between a pelvic floor that's too tight in the front, like urine incontinence, for example, or a pelvic floor that is too tight in the back, like you would experience if you had constipation, and a pelvic floor that is too weak or too tight in the front, that you would see in people who hold their urine all day or have painful intercourse, or a pelvic floor that is too tight in the back, which you would see in people that have constipation. So what you're going to do is you're going to get onto hands and knees in a quadruped position. So this is a quadruped position. You're going to bring your big toes together and your knees just a little bit wide. And you're going to rock back. So before you rock back, you're going to make sure your spine is in relative neutral, so not curled and not dropped. So you're going to create a nice strong spine in a neutral position. And then if you tend towards a pelvic floor that is too tight, you're going to take an inhale here, and on an exhale, you're going to rock back. And you're either going to release your pee or release your poo. So if you have a tight anterior pelvic floor, like painful intercourse, for example, then you're going to rock back and release your pee. If you have a tight posterior pelvic floor, like you tend to be a person that holds their poo or has constipation, you're going to rock back and release your poo. So you're not going to release so much that you actually go. You're just going to get that sensation of release as you rock back. So inhale here and rock back, release your pee or release your poo. If you have a pelvic floor that tends towards weakness, then you're going to do the opposite. So you're going to take a sharp inhale here, you're going to rock back, and you're going to either hold your pee or hold your poo, depending on what part of the pelvic floor you want to address. That is a great drill that can replace the traditional Kegels and also give you a drill that can help release the pelvic floor that's too tight. If you're not sure what situation your pelvic floor is in, if you're not really sure whether or not you have a tight pelvic floor or a weak pelvic floor, please don't play with the pelvic floor. You really need to get assessed properly either by a pelvic floor physio or by an NKT professional. Thanks so much.